Rocking Entrepreneur, Episode 4.
There were times my dad was like, "So what are you gonna do like this summer?" And I was like, "I want to make a viral video." It's like, what?
Okay, so my next question is, when was your aha moment? You think that you said to yourself, okay, here I am, I kind of think that I made it. And how was that feeling?
Oh man, I mean, I've had good moments, but I definitely don't feel like I have made it. It's work in progress. I'm still, working at it, still trying to make the best music I can and get it to people. And especially now, I feel like I'm going in a slightly different direction than I was the past 3-4 years. So I don't know if I have a real aha moment as far as that goes. I mean, I'd say it's something that I keep having to ask myself every couple months, really, like reevaluating strategy in terms of what I'm doing and what's productive and where I need to be. Not in like a bad way, not in like I really need to turn my life around, do something else entirely kind of way, just like really just kind of taking stock of what your strategy is, where I should be, what I should be doing. It's a constant thing.
So at any point of those couple of years, did you have any existential crisis?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. For musicians, there's a continuing existential crisis. I imagine like a lot of entrepreneurs have, it's like you're kind of always, until you really like make it big, you're always kind of questioning, is this the right thing to be doing? Because it's, there's a lot of risk. There's a lot of like seeming instability in what you're doing. But yeah, no, I mean, there were times my dad was like, "So what are you gonna do like this summer?" And I was like, "I want to make a viral video." It's like, what? Like, what is? I don't even know what that is. But yeah, it's great. But it worked. I remember that he was. We were riding together to New York, and I was on my way to record Rohan for the Hariprasad video, which is one of the more popular videos that I've done. And I mean, yeah, as crazy as it seems, it kind of worked. But in terms of crises, yeah, so I did videos for a couple of years, and then I decided to do a Kickstarter campaign, which is now a couple of years back, to raise money for a new album, which I just finished and released a month ago, by the way.
Yeah, I actually signed up. I was one of the contributors for the Kickstarter campaign too.
Oh, fantastic. Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you. So that was a really interesting moment in there because I don't know. I know that like when talking about like entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship, there's so much importance given to funding. And so like a huge thing that people think about and talk about. And then it feels like it's the centerpiece of, I don't know, a lot of discussions about entrepreneurship. And yeah, I kind of was sucked into that as well. And I mean, of course, everybody thinks about money all the time, and that's kind of what everything revolves around. But when you're dealing with like creative work, like music, you have to kind of separate your brain from that way of thinking. Otherwise, it can be really dangerous to the work, which is something that I kind of figured out the hard way. I kind of was always thinking, oh, wouldn't it be amazing to get a big pile of money and then just do creative work? And what I realized was after getting funded, like immediately after, what came with it was a huge sense of pressure that really kind of, I don't know, it kind of just dampened my creativity. Not dampened, but just kind of I pushed it in a weird direction, I felt. Because the feeling that suddenly came was something like, here I am, I'm funded now. Now it's my chance to kind of get famous or be really successful. And that feeling that now I have to be successful and now I have a short period of time to do it, I think is not when you do your best work, especially for creative work. I can't speak for other types of work. I imagine it's somewhat similar, but yeah, that was tough, and it kind of took me almost a year to get out of that place where I felt like I could be more kind of reorient my mind to do proper good work. So yeah, I don't know. That's what I would say. It's one of the bigger crises.
Okay, so could you dig more into that? Could you take our audience, our fellow rock stars, really into that situation? How bad was it, and uh, how much did it affect you on a personal and a professional level?
Um, it was really, I don't know, definitely a big sense of stress. And felt like I was just kind of, I don't know. It was a weird time. I was like definitely not making good judgments about like people I was working with and my expectations for the project I was doing. I was kind of setting them way too high for a reasonable outcome for such a project. Like I remember I had a big idea about like what to do with my stage design because I wanted to have like a cool stage for performing. So I spent a couple weeks at like a workshop to try to like get some cool projection for the stage thing. And yeah, that was not a good use of time. I mean, it's just was not practical at all for the project. So I don't know, various little things like that. And also, I mean, I'd say the main thing was just a general feeling of, not trying to make a hit or not trying to be popular. I'm not sure what the equivalent would be in other forms of business, but in music, I would say like a hit. Like you can't really make a hit unless you have a huge like major record label network and means to get there. But if you're an independent artist, uh, you don't have that means available to you directly. So I mean, you have your independent following, and the work that you do naturally is kind of to for them anyway. You know what I mean? I don't know if this makes sense, but so you kind of have to focus on that. Um, I don't know. I felt like it took me a while to realize that and to kind of get back to just making my own soulful version of music rather than trying to be something that I'm not, trying to do something that could have been, I don't know, in a what I thought could have been in a Hindi movie or like on the radio or something like that. But it was not. It felt very misguided, and it took a while to kind of be like, what am I doing? I gotta just get back to doing what I normally do. So, yeah.
So is this the time you said when you got funded for the Kickstarter campaign?
Yeah.
And you also mentioned about the stage appearance. So at the same time, you were thinking about the concerts that you're going to show up in?
Yeah, I was trying to think about future concerts.
Okay, so you're
But
saying
yeah.
that kind of at some level messed up your you started
Well,
thinking about a
I
lot of
guess
things at the same time and did
it
not
was more
focus on.
priorities. I should have been thinking about getting the band together for the concert or the music for the concert before the stage design, and especially in terms of like budgeting for that. I didn't spend money on that workshop. I didn't lose money on it, but just in terms of my thinking for it, like I should have been putting absolutely the music should have been first, or like the quality of the main product should have come first before um, other flashy ideas.
So you mentioned that at some point of time you figured out that this is not the route you intended to go on, and then you rectified, and then you said, what am I doing? This is not what I wanted to do,
Yeah.
and your music has not been soulful. What led you to that epiphany?
Um. Boy, that's a good question. I don't know. I could just kind of starting to feel more and more like it wasn't working out in the way that I was expecting it to. And yeah, I'm not sure there was an exact moment. It was just a general feeling that just kind of became stronger. And I don't know, there was a moment of realization when I realized that I had to kind of reevaluate all the music on the CD and basically recompose and re-record it and kind of
So,
do it
did you
from
actually
scratch.
go about changing all the songs on the Filament album and
I
redid
did.
all of them?
I did. What I had a demo CD when I did the initial Kickstarter project of like 9 or 10 songs, and none of those songs are on the final album. It's completely different, even from like a couple months, like 3 or 4 months in after the Kickstarter project finished funding. Even from there, I was like really not happy with anything, and I did it from scratch. Um, yeah, no, but I mean, in the end, it was a really good learning experience. I think I learned some valuable lessons from that. First of off, being like, I I can't try to put myself in a different category, like in terms of music. Like I can't try to work for, I don't know, popularity or an instant hit or anything like that. It's really that same standard. It has to just come from me, if that makes sense. That's one thing. The other thing, which is a big thing, which is that I'm never gonna depend on funding for a creative project. Um, that's hold on, not depend on funding, but I'm not gonna let it affect the creative work. I'm gonna do the creative work first, um, and then let the funding just push that farther. The funding is never going to take a precedent within the. This is not. I'm not saying this well, but hopefully, yeah,
I think I get the idea. You're more focused on the creative energy. Let that do the talking instead of let the money define what you really want to put out.
yeah. But in a more concrete way, like all the creative work would be finished before any funding would take place. Like for instance, if we were, I don't know, if I was going to do like a TV show, the idea of the TV show and hopefully a lot into it, like the first episode would be recorded and shot, and everything would be done before I would go outside to ask for any help getting it made. I want to be that confident in the work itself before any outside money kind of comes in, because I feel like you need that time with the work itself to reevaluate it and just spend time to kind of look at it and make sure that it's really good. Because once outside money comes in, all that pressure is there to deliver it right away, and suddenly you'll find that, you know, all these pressures will make you lose your footing. And I feel like I've seen a similar thing with some friends who, you know, or other people who, not in music, but once they get funded, it becomes an entirely different game. And I think that getting funding is the tough part, but I think actually delivering after you're funded is way tougher.
And what do you think are the factors that govern that strategy?
I would say some brutal honesty about what is working or not working. Most of the time, it's about what's not working. And then also about something that really enthusiastic about, or something that I'm really fired up to do, you know, in the next, so something I'm inspired by. You know, in my case, everything is about music. So it would be some songs in a genre that I'm really excited about doing, or something I could really imagine taking to the stage, you know, in 6 months or so. But I think, yeah, energy and inspiration to do something is really important. You know, it's why you work. So, yeah.
Okay, all right. So with this, we enter the Rocking Ground, which is kind of
Oh, what's
more,
that?
it's like more concise questions,
Okay.
kind of like a one-liner. What is your biggest strength?
My biggest strength?
Mhm.
I don't know, composing a track in a day. How about that?
I'll take that. That's an awesome
Okay,
thing.
yeah, I don't know.
What's your biggest weakness?
Writing emails on time.
You can use an email scheduler.
Yes, as you have experienced this, Tushar, I apologize for being
No, I would be more than
untimely on
happy to
the
do
emails.
that for you. Trust me. Okay, so what is one thing that has you excited the most right now?
Good question. I'd say a fellow musician who is starting a new project, and hopefully I'm going to produce it. I don't want to give too many specifics, but yeah,
That's
some
very
new work.
mysterious. Okay, what is one big challenge you're facing right now?
Where to live in the world?
What keeps you motivated?
I don't know, just trying to be with other people who kind of kick my butt in a creative way, and just, I don't know, expose myself to different kinds of music traditions. Try to keep things fresh.
Absolutely. Okay, so this podcast is also a means of trying to give back something to you. Is there anything that we could be of help to you?
Sure. Check out my new album, Filament. It is on iTunes and generously funded by Mr. Tushar himself. So, yeah, please check it out. Listen to it on iTunes and on YouTube. The first couple of videos are up as well.
Yes, it is great. The songs are amazing. Please go and have a look at those. I think I'll post a couple of links on the show notes page as well so that people can go and have a look at those songs as well.
Okay, fantastic. Yes.
Okay, so the last round, the rapid fire round, and it's going to be
Okay.
very quick.
All right.
So what was holding you back from being an entrepreneur?
Nothing. I was a musician with no opportunity, so I jumped right into it naturally.
What was the best part about starting something in the Indian subcontinent?
Loads of enthusiasm and support and an amazing community.
And what was the worst part?
Not speaking the language.
Yeah. What's the best advice you have ever received or followed?
Don't go to bed late. Haven't followed that, though.
Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
I just work at something until I think it's done and perfect.
Can you share an internet application like Google Documents or anything that helps you be more efficient at the work you do?
Yeah, I use the Things iPhone app. It's a list planner. It's pretty good.
And what book would you recommend for our fellow rock stars and why?
I would recommend Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell. It's classic. I'm sure everybody on your podcast has already read it. That's a good book.
It's a great book. All right, Shankar. I've truly enjoyed listening to your journey, and the stories you shared are amazing. And before we say goodbye, what's one piece of guidance that you would like to share with our fellow rock stars and the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can get in touch with me through my website or Facebook or Twitter, Shankar Tucker on Twitter. My piece of advice would be don't worry about funding, just make a good product.
Great. Rockstars, you are the average of the 5 people you hang out the most with, and you've been hanging out with Tushar and Shankar Tucker. To find all the valuable content we've just talked about in today's episode, all you have to do is go to www.repodcast.com and search for Shankar in the search bar. And while you're over there, do leave a comment for me or for Shankar. Thanks a lot, Shankar Tucker, for taking your valuable time out.
Thank you so much, Tushar.
And
My
we
pleasure.
wish you all the best with all your future releases, all your future songs. May they
Thank you.
be super hit, and I'll definitely be following them.
Awesome.
And we hope to continue talking to you on Rocking Entrepreneur podcast.
Definitely, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tushar.